it is. It is our next edition, our next segment, continuing along with the Freezer Cooking Chronicles, right? And today in particular, mamas, we are doing all the things to get this, it's like, I feel like air traffic controller. I don't know if those are real signals or not. I don't know what I'm signaling, but I am signaling freezer meals in the freezer, ready to go for summer for all of these folks. I got a lot of folks. I don't know if you have a lot of folks, even if you don't have as many folks as I do, having freezer meals ready to go. It's a whole thing. So I'm gonna show you my hopes and dreams freezer cooking list. We'll see. I'm so hopeful. I had some phone calls and other things going on this morning, and I've been prepping and getting started. You know, all the mega mama multitasking, but let's read the list and we'll see where this all ends up. But it should be a whole lot of food. What I'm using is my Big Batch Freezer Meals Guide 18, which is another lunch edition, and it is just for easy grab and go lunches for kiddos. So, not included in the pack though, freezer PB&Js. I have not done hundreds of freezer PB&Js in quite a while. I don't remember. I don't remember the last time I did this. I don't think we even did this spring. It must be over a year ago. I have a long, deep internet history of doing freezer peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I learned it from my friend Crystal Payne from moneysavingmom.com probably 15 years ago now. And if you don't think freezer peanut butter and jelly sandwiches would be helpful, they are. I promise they are. If you got a lot of folks and you just need to like grab 12 and grab a bag of apples and the half-eaten Costco bag of tortilla chips and throw it in a bag and take it to the lake. It's a whole thing. Deep and wide at my farmhouse, I would take a dozen or so, take them from the freezer, put them on the counter in the morning. By lunchtime, I wouldn't have to make sandwiches again. So anyway, we're gonna do a bunch of freezer PB&Js. And then from Guide 18, from the Big Batch Freezer Meals lunch situation there, we're gonna do, it's actually supreme pizza muffins. You've seen me do variations of pizza muffins, but these are supreme, yum. And then you can dip them in some marinara sauce. You can do all kinds of yummy things. We're gonna do ham and macaroni muffins. That's fun. Just doing some stromboli, buffalo chicken taquitos, and I'm gonna do a variation where I also do the low carb wraps for my freezer, THM, Trim Healthy Mama freezer stash, pepperoni pizza bagels, ham and cheese roll-ups. We're also gonna do some homemade freezer chicken nuggets. So let's see what messes I got going on here behind me. So we're gonna get going with all of those freezer meal recipes. Still, dishes aren't here. One thing I did get going a little bit ago, actually it was done over 40 minutes ago. I got 6 pounds of chicken going. That's for the taquitos and a couple other recipes. Also, we have the sausage done, which is going to go in the supreme pizza muffins, and also our noodles are done for our macaroni cup. So just showing you where we are right now. But the first thing I need to do is chop up some onions for these supreme pizza muffins. I don't know this mystery, but y'all know I have a favorite knife. In one of my recent mega freezer meal videos that I did with my friends Joe and Heidi even said that it was life changing. Yeah, it was life changing. Anyway, I don't know where it is. It doesn't make sense. Folks know where to put the knives, so I'm using my less than favorite knives. We were saying maybe we just don't know. But we will find it. It is here. I have a box I usually keep it in. Anywho. Struggles of the day. So it's us and Paula Dean right now. And so I've done pepperoni pizza muffins on here. These are supreme pizza muffins. And they have things like onions and green peppers and sausage and pepperonis in them. I don't have any green peppers. You know, there always has to be some missing ingredient. But I am going to do the onions in this. And so if you don't think that your folks would like, oh, we do have some onions that need used up here, would like the supreme variation, you could just do pepperoni. Just have a few situations with this onion here, and so I'm going to docker it up and we're going to still use it. And remember, I have contacts in, so that's how I'm able to have my eyeballs over this onion and it not affect anything. It's like built-in goggles. If they were not in, it would be quite different. And it still gets to me sometimes, but I do usually get comments about that. And I don't know about you guys, but I am planning on taking a summer of simple joy activities. We are doing the pools, and we are doing lakes and hikes and some fun things like that. Also, my folks are participating in an equestrian camp. That'll be a lot of fun. And that also usually has swimming at the end of the day. And I have a kiddo bringing me up some butter from the freezer that we need for something. And so, friends, like I like to do on my big freezer cooking days, I am also solving the world's problems while chopping the onions. Solving my problems, solving the world's problems. We are just going to town and getting things done here. Like I say, for these supreme pizza muffins, you don't have to add in the onions or the green peppers, but the sausage and even the pepperoni still is absolutely delightful. Or if you have family folks that like the supreme pizza toppings, I mean, you could even do mushrooms. Totally make it your own. I'm just using up some onions that really needed to find their purpose in life, and we are getting things done. And also in Big Batch Freezer Meals Guide 18, an option for smaller families, or if you just want to do smaller batches, there's a smallish Big Batch recipe edition. This section divides recipes in half, still giving you lots of freezer meals, but you don't have to, necessarily end up with super mega massive amounts. So with these supreme pizza muffins, there's 2 onions diced, 2 green peppers, or whatever color peppers you would like. There's also 12 cups of baking mix. Now, again, I made my Jamerrill's Frugal from Scratch baking mix. You can also use Bisquick or whatever works for you. In a perfect world, there's 3 15-ounce jars of pizza sauce. I had to get a little squirrely, pulling some pizza sauce together here. There's also some cups of water, shredded mozzarella cheese. I did cooked ground sausage and also packs of mini pepperonis. And I cooked these supreme pizza muffins. I preheated my oven to 350, and then I cooked them for about 15 to 20 minutes and then let them cool when they were done. You can use warm pizza sauce or marinara sauce to dip them in too. All right, so here we are with Big Batch Freezer Meals Guide 18. And the very first thing we're doing is the Supreme Pizza Muffins. And so, we never follow every recipe exactly, but we have 2 onions diced. We did that, 2 green bell peppers. Forget you, bell peppers. We're gonna use 12 cups of baking mix. Now, I have a Frugal from Scratch baking mix. That's over in my Frugal from Scratch baking guide, has all kinds of baking staples. But I'm using that recipe for these Supreme Pizza Muffins. If you don't have that, it's like homemade Bisquick. You can just use Bisquick or whatever you would like. Then we're gonna use 3 jars of pizza sauce, some water within all of that, our mozzarella cheese, our ground sausage, and then also our mini pepperonis. And then you can see over here, you see how beautiful and pretty they are. And then we have our lasagna roll-ups coming up, which are lovely. The very next thing, based on the items I have prepped here, are the ham and cheese macaroni muffins. So these are our things that are in the works. Okay, so the nice thing with these Supreme Pizza Muffins is that let's get out our first round of the Mega Mama Bowl. Mystery candy in there. Alrighty, and I've got 2 pounds of ground sausage cooked, we're actually going to use 1 pound in this. Hold on, Mama needs a spoon. The other pound, I'm doing some finagling around. You see what happened is I'm working with most of the meat that I had on hand. And so whenever we get to the lasagna roll-ups, the original recipe in the freezer meal guide talks about 2 pounds of sausage with the casings removed and 2 pounds of ground beef. We are going to use 1 pound of the ground sausage and 3 pounds of bison. Following all that? And so for these Supreme Pizza muffins, I am eyeballing 1 pound-ish of sausage. That looks pretty good. We will use this up here in a few minutes. Now we're gonna put in, this is just a 5-ounce bag of the mini pepperonis, but it gives everybody pizza thoughts. Take out the little add-in. And then this is 2 packs of my already mixed up homemade frugal bacon mix. It is 6 cups in each bag. I need 12 cups total. So we're gonna get that in there, and then I'm gonna add in 3 cups of water. And I'm out of pizza sauce. I thought for sure I did not need it. So we're gonna use spaghetti sauce. So here's all of our ingredients in the Mega Mama bowl, and I'm trying, you know, we try with a spoon here. I try to behave, but yeah, just gonna have to get this all mixed up, and then we are going to get it in the muffin liners and get all of this mix in the oven. We actually make so many dozen, several dozen of these Supreme Pizza muffins that I end up using all of the silicone liners, plus we do like some drop biscuit versions of these, just because I was out of liners and it was a good way to just drop them on some parchment paper and still get them baked through. Then I'm gonna cut open my bag of mozzarella, and we get to mix everything together. Again, a handful per cup. And so now it's just the round and round of the can opener, but hey, the can openers are cooperating at this time, and we always appreciate that, can openers. And we are getting the Mega Mama bowls out and putting those to good use to make up this big batch of Supreme Pizza muffins. And as I say, these are great dipped in marinara sauce. I can tell you from the future that many of my folks have been taking these from the freezer, defrosting them, just putting them in the refrigerator the day or so before, and then heating them up in the microwave or even eating them cold. And again, dipping them when they're heated up in marinara sauce, and they love them lots. So here's how the Supreme Pizza Muffins mix looks in the big bowl. Now we're gonna spray our muffin pans there and get these going in the oven. And you know, I've been using these silicone muffin liners for several years now, as long as I've lived in this house. That's how we know different kitchen utensils and tools, right? So for almost 4.5 years now, I do need to set them on a baking sheet whenever I put them in the oven. And then I will do things like spray them with some olive oil and such. may or may not really be needed there, but I still do it when I have it. And even whenever I've been out of my spray. You see, I've just had to go back to getting Great Value nonstick spray now. My Misto has come and gone, and then I had a good bit of just putting some olive oil on a napkin and wiping things down for nonstick help. And so I am just plopping in, totally eyeballing the Supreme Pizza muffin mix into each little muffin cup here. And I put the silicone liners on baking sheets. So usually, depending on if it's my larger baking sheet, I can fit 2 dozen muffins on, and if it's the smaller ones, I just get a dozen on there. The nice thing with my various oven racks is I can do several dozen at one time. Actually, if I had my 2 big baking sheets and 4 dozen total, that would be in my big oven, and then I could do 2 more dozen. I could do up to 6 dozen at a time. And so we just got to do whatever we can to make it work. And I know I've been hearing from many of you who really like this yellow dress. I've been enjoying it for summer. So I will be sure to link all my favorite summer dresses, plus this Big Batch Freezer Meals Guide 18, where we cook up a lot of great lunches to help kick off summer around here and help a mama out, right? All of these things will be linked down in the description below if you're interested. Don't have anything in my ovens that's good except pizza muffins coming. Supreme pizza muffins, I should say. So we got about 5 dozen that are going in. And then we're going to take parchment paper and we'll do some Supreme Muffin drop biscuits here with the remaining. And there's some Mega Mama style Supreme Pizza drop biscuits that's just waiting in line for the ovens to get done. So looking at our massive summer freezer meals list and knowing that my muffin silicone liners are in use right now because we have the ham and macaroni muffin cups coming up. But next up, I think we're going to jump and get the freezer chicken nuggets prepped and ready so that once we're done running the Supreme Pizza muffins through the ovens, we can get those going through and then wash those liners and then do the ham and macaroni cups. That's how I think it's going to fall together now. And so here's our directions for the freezer chicken nuggets. And here's how they can be prepped and ready to go in the bags. Alrighty, so we are gonna get everything together here now for the freezer chicken nuggets. I'm just gonna go ahead and put parchment paper on these 2 baking sheets. Let's see if I have enough in this one. I'm gonna get it. And we're gonna take, I've already got the chicken all cut up here. And I need to crack some eggs, get those mixed up. Then we will dip the chicken in the eggs and flour, and we're just using mashed up cornflakes. A friend told me that her mom used to also mix in Rice Krispies. We're gonna just totally do Rice Krispies and mash those up to make homemade chicken nuggets with 2. And I was thinking about it, you could probably use those, it's bacon panko. It's just like crumbled up pork rinds to make a keto-friendly, low-carb, healthy alternative nugget. But we're doing cornflakes today. And the recipe in my Big Batch Freezer Meals Guide 18 calls for 10 to 12 pounds of chicken. And I just realized I prepped and got ready 6 pounds of chicken. So still gonna be a decent amount of chicken for my folks here, but that's why I'm not using the full amount. that the rest, full amount of eggs and such. But I do need to get my mix. And so now we're just mixing in a precious little bowl. Isn't this cute? And so at this point, I got the cornflakes in the blender, and we are letting the Vitamix do the work of crunching them all up. Okay, so I just got our cornflakes a little smoother there. And so now we are just gonna go through the process of, oh, that's my timer going off. Well, let me go check my muffins real quick here. And so yes, here's my assembly line, and I am just showing you how I'm taking the little chunked up chicken, and we are dipping it in the flour and seasoning mixture, and then rolling it in our mixed eggs, and then rolling it through our cornflakes that we ran through the Vitamix. And I just continue to do that again and again and again until we get so many homemade chicken nuggets. And be sure to share the ways that you like to make homemade chicken nuggets in the comments below. I was chatting with a friend about how her mom used to do homemade chicken nuggets, and she would put the seasonings and many of the ingredients in a bag and then shake them all up together. And as I continued on with this, I was like, you know what? I should probably do that. But I did not want to. I just didn't want to mess anything up with what I was trying to show you and how I have things laid out. And so I did it individually. But I would love to hear your best tips on making bulk homemade chicken nuggets. And maybe we can give that a try in an upcoming video. And you might see the orchids down to the left of the screen. Those are from Mother's Day. They've been doing so well, and they're my kind of flowers because all you have to do, the little directions, is you give them 3 ice cubes once a week, and they are just loving life. They don't even look real. And so now we've been joking, well, maybe we should grow orchids. My plants on the property have been doing so well. If you haven't seen over on my Instagram, I have continued to share pictures of the different volunteers. And actually over here on YouTube, I do have a recent, I'm calling it an abandoned garden tour, but it's not really abandoned. I mean, we've put a lot of work into the garden spaces on this property. And so this is just not the year, just not the season where I am able to put hours and hours into gardening, but all of my perennials are coming back in full force. I have so many volunteers on this property. I mean, sunflowers I didn't even plant. Now, I did plant hundreds of sunflowers, but I have sunflowers that were 5 feet tall before June 1st even got here, and those were from last year. So that is so fun to see. Also have a mega bunch of potatoes that hopefully will give us a decent potato harvest. I did have an animal though get into part of my potato patch, and so yeah, not sure what's going to happen with that in there. So we will continue to see. And it wasn't like a wild animal, it was a family member's goat. So goats will get into gardens. And so we have had some of those adventures. The hosta are all coming up in full force, and the nasturtiums are starting to pop out. So all the things to make my heart happy that I appreciate for sure. And then with these homemade chicken nuggets, I am just lining these baking sheets with them. You see we put parchment paper down first and a little spray of olive oil, and now I am just doing each individual nugget and getting it out on the sheets. And I know many of you have also been asking me about my t-shirts and just different things I'm wearing this summer and my favorite Trim Healthy Mama products and so much. So I do have links and favorite items that are popping up during this video. But again, down in the description below, I'm going to have links to all my favorites for you. And I'm going to try to get so much better about doing fresh links for you and sharing exactly what you're asking about from me. And here we are going for another full blender load of cornflakes. But of course, once they are all ground up fine, we have less than 1/4 of a blender of ground cornflakes to use. And I just do this batch after batch after batch, and we continue on.
So we're continuing on now with our homemade chicken nugget assembly line. We are getting it done. These are a good bit of work. However, it'll be very nice and convenient for the kids to have them ready to go for summer. Also, they really love the fact when Mama makes them. And at this point, I am putting several of the homemade cut up nuggets through the flour, rolling a couple at the time in our egg mixture, and just continuing the assembly line process through here. I've also heard from many viewers who have really enjoyed my emergency pantry planning printables. If you haven't gotten those yet, you just head to largefamilytable.com/pantry. I will additionally have those linked below, and those will help you plan and organize and shop for building your own emergency pantry for your family. So here's how the nuggets are doing in the ovens. They're doing a good job in there. And those are some of ours that have already come out.
Alrighty, so while we're still waiting on the last of the nuggets, here's the Supreme Pizza Muffins, including the drop biscuit version that I did. These have been cooling. They are delicious when they're reheated, dipped in some marinara sauce. And then here's our continued stack, growing stack. I do have a teen that is working on the PB&J station, like the olden days, so we're getting those going for summer. And now I'm just doing a little bit of countertop cleanup before we get into our next project. Things do build up around here when I get these big projects going, but taking a few minutes at least as we transition to cooking up our next big batch recipe. And now I'm just pulling the rest of the pans out of the oven for this chicken nugget goodness. Alrighty, so here is how all of our homemade chicken nuggets have turned out. So I'm going to freeze these in different gallon Ziploc bags that are labeled, and then we will just heat them through as needed. But wasn't this a fun little cooking project? Alrighty, so we have some accomplishments here. The PB&J's done. Pizza muffins done. All the way down to the freezer nuggets done. So now we're going to do these ham and macaroni muffins. These are going to be our next focus. And I think I'm going to get the water going for the lasagna roll-ups. The meat's already cooked for that. So I'm getting some bags out that I'm going to label to put the nuggets in, and we'll get those in bags and then get those down in the freezer. And some time has gone by for the nuggets to cool down appropriately also before I put them in the bags too. I know it's hard to tell in video time exactly the time that is a passing, but I am multitasking and doing several things and now working on bagging up these nuggets. Now for the freezer chicken nuggets, you can use 10 to 12 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breast cut into nuggets. I ended up using about 6 pounds of chicken because that's what I had on hand. These chicken nuggets I cooked at 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes until they reached the appropriate internal temperature.
And these nuggets, just like so many of the freezer meals, you just take them from the freezer, fully frozen, put them in the refrigerator. They can defrost a day or two, and then you can run them through the microwave to heat them up, or even warm them up in the oven again. Your family folks can pick their favorite condiments to go with them, do some kind of vegetable. Hey, do watermelon in a summer salad, right? And there you go, dinner's done. So for the macaroni muffins, it was 2 packs of elbow macaroni cooked and drained, also 4 cups of milk, 4 eggs, 2 of those 16-ounce packs of already diced ham, 6 cups of shredded mozzarella, 6 cups of shredded sharp cheese, and of course you can use blended cheese, or like I do, any cheese you have on hand. I also preheated my oven to 350, and these I checked in about the 20-minute mark. They'll need to bake for about 20 to 30 minutes. Alrighty, so we're at least checking this off. They'll be out of the oven soon. And then after the macaroni and ham muffin cups come out of the oven and cool down, I get them in labeled gallon freezer bags as well. And that works out really well. Some people have asked me if I individually wrap muffins or these kind of muffin cup recipes, and I don't. I usually just slide a dozen or more, just depends on the size they turn out, into these gallon freezer bags, and then I stack them in my freezer, and then family folks, usually they pull out 2 bags going after. We did eat all of those muffins that I did in a breakfast freezer cooking video maybe 6 or 8 weeks back. Those have all come and gone, so I'm proud of us. We continue to roll through different things that I prep, and that is super helpful. And if we're not doing freezer meals, I big batch cook in advance. So currently, when I am talking to you on this voiceover, we are having a couple nights of homemade tacos that you will also see in an upcoming video. Not just tacos, but nachos and egg wraps and soft shells and taco salad, all the different taco festivities you can think of. Now, on this big batch freezer cooking day, I did not get to the other recipes that were listed. I had other mama things and family folk things that needed to happen as we finished out the afternoon and went into evening. So be sure to look for another upcoming big batch freezer cooking video where we will continue to focus on filling the freezer for summer with simple and easy and super convenient lunch-inspired freezer meals. Of course, these could be used for dinner. It's just whenever you need to use them. But we are having a lunch theme right now. Thank you so much for watching. This was such a fun big batch freezer cooking afternoon. As I said, our big batch freezer meals guide 18 will be linked down in the description below if you would like to cook up any of these recipes big batch style to help fill your freezer as well. It's not just large family freezer meals. I have had families of all sizes from all over the world cook up my big batch freezer cooking recipes, and I have heard that these meals have been super convenient in a variety of real life situations, and I know that they are super convenient in my real life too. Thank you so much for spending the afternoon doing this freezer cooking. I appreciate you, and I'm going to see you very soon with another brand new video. Bye bye.